You may have heard about castor oil. Some people say it helps with digestion. Others use it for skin, joints, or even hair growth. For many, it's a trusted remedy passed down through generations. But here's something most people don't realize. When used the wrong way, castor oil can actually harm your body. And if you're over 60 years old, your body may respond very differently than it did when you were younger. What was once a natural remedy could quietly become a serious risk. Just one small mistake, like taking the wrong amount, using the wrong type, or applying it to sensitive skin, could lead to nausea, heart issues, or even an emergency room visit. In today's episode, we're going to walk through the 9 most common castor oil mistakes that people over 60 often make without even knowing it. More importantly, you'll learn how to avoid them and how to use castor oil in a way that actually supports your health. If you're using castor oil now or thinking about trying it, this is one video you'll want to hear all the way through. Let's get started, because your health deserves nothing less than the truth delivered with care. 1. A silent threat inside. Let's start with one of the most dangerous but often overlooked mistakes: using castor oil when you have a bowel obstruction. Now, if you're not sure what a bowel obstruction is, it's when part of your intestine becomes blocked. This can happen from scar tissue, inflammation, or in some cases, just age-related changes in the digestive system. The symptoms often feel like a stubborn case of constipation. You may feel bloated, experience stomach pain, and notice you haven't passed gas or had a bowel movement in a while. That's when some people reach for castor oil, thinking it'll help get things moving. But here's the danger. Castor oil is a powerful stimulant. It forces the muscles in your intestines to contract. If your bowels are blocked, those strong contractions can increase pressure in the intestines, causing pain, tearing, or even a perforation in the bowel wall. That's a life-threatening emergency. One viewer in her 70s shared this: "I thought I was just backed up, so I took a spoonful of castor oil like my mother used to. Within an hour, I was in so much pain I couldn't stand. Turned out I had a partial obstruction." If you've had abdominal surgery in the past, or if you suffer from long-term constipation or unexplained stomach swelling, you may be at risk. So, how do you know when it's not safe? If you have persistent abdominal pain, no gas or bowel movement for more than 24 hours, and you feel nauseated or bloated, it's time to stop. Do not take castor oil. Call your doctor. Castor oil is not a cure for a blockage. It's a trigger that can make a bad situation much worse. So please, before you try anything for constipation, listen to your body. When something doesn't feel right, trust your instinct. 2. The medicine cabinet mistake. Many of us over 60 take daily medications, maybe for high blood pressure, heart rhythm, arthritis, or fluid retention. Our medicine cabinets are filled with pills we've come to rely on. But here's a mistake most people don't see coming: using castor oil without checking how it interacts with those medications. It's easy to think that because castor oil is natural, it must be safe. But natural doesn't always mean harmless. Castor oil works as a stimulant laxative. It speeds up digestion, moves things through the bowels faster, and draws fluid into the intestines. While that can bring relief, it can also reduce the time your body has to absorb certain medications. This can cause 2 serious problems. First, your medicine may not work as well because your body doesn't get the full dose. Second, it might absorb too quickly, leading to stronger side effects than intended. For example, if you take blood pressure medication and use castor oil at the same time, it may throw off your electrolyte balance. That can affect how your heart functions, especially if you're on diuretics or beta blockers. People taking blood thinners like warfarin should also be cautious. Dehydration from castor oil can affect how your body responds to the drug, possibly increasing the risk of bleeding or clotting. One subscriber told us, I had no idea my stool softener and castor oil were interacting until my blood pressure dropped too low. I just wanted to stay regular. That's the heart of this mistake. It's not about doing something wrong on purpose. It's about not realizing how things work together inside your body. So before adding castor oil to your routine, talk to your doctor or pharmacist. Bring a full list of your medications and supplements. Just a 10-minute conversation can prevent weeks of side effects or dangerous interactions. You've spent decades caring for your health. Now it's time to protect it with wisdom and attention. 3. The detox that drains you. We all want to feel lighter, cleaner, and more energized. And somewhere along the way, many of us were told that detoxing is the answer. Flush out the toxins, reset your system, and you'll feel young again. That's the promise. And yes, used occasionally and carefully, castor oil can be a part of a gentle cleanse. But here's the mistake: using castor oil regularly as a long-term detox method. This is especially risky for older adults. Why? Because as we age, our bodies become more sensitive to imbalances, especially in hydration and nutrients. Castor oil works by stimulating your bowels. That means more frequent trips to the bathroom, which may feel like progress. But over time, this constant stimulation can weaken your body's natural ability to eliminate waste on its own. It's like using a crutch when your leg isn't actually broken. Eventually, your muscles forget how to walk without it. The bigger danger comes from what's lost along the way. Every time your body flushes out waste, it also loses fluids and electrolytes like potassium, magnesium, and sodium. These are crucial for your heart, brain, and muscles to function properly. Frequent use of castor oil can also irritate your gut lining, disrupt your microbiome, and cause ongoing digestive discomfort, even when you're not using it. Let's be clear. Feeling the need to detox all the time could be a sign that something deeper is out of balance. Diet, stress, sleep, medications, all of these play a role in how our bodies feel. So if you've been turning to castor oil week after week, hoping to feel better, ask yourself, am I healing or just masking something that needs attention? Your body doesn't need extreme cleanses. It needs consistency. Gentle movement, real food, water, rest, and yes, occasional support when needed. Let castor oil be a tool, not a habit. You deserve to feel well without relying on quick fixes that wear your body down over time. 4. Labeled for hair, swallowed by mistake. Here's a mistake that happens more often than you'd think, and it can be dangerous. Some people take castor oil internally without checking the label. They assume all castor oil is the same, but it's not. There are two main types of castor oil on store shelves. One is cosmetic grade, meant for external use only on hair, skin, or nails. The other is food grade, which is specifically processed and purified for safe internal use. Taking the wrong kind, especially cosmetic castor oil, can lead to serious health risks. That's because many external use oils contain added ingredients. These might include preservatives, fragrances, or even small amounts of industrial solvents that help extract the oil during processing. One of the most common is hexane, a chemical that's never meant to be swallowed. If you ingest these oils, your body might respond with nausea, vomiting, cramps, or worse. In some cases, it can cause toxic reactions, especially in people with sensitive systems, liver conditions, or weakened immune responses. One of our listeners shared this. I bought a bottle online. It looked just like the one my sister used. I took a teaspoon every morning for 2 days before I realized it said for external use only in tiny print on the back. I got sick, and it took me a full week to recover. That kind of mistake can be easily avoided, but only if we take a moment to read the fine print. Here's what to look for before using castor oil internally. Make sure the label clearly says food grade, cold pressed, organic, and hexane free. Those words matter. They tell you that the oil was made safely, without added chemicals, and processed at low temperatures to preserve its benefits. If you're ever unsure, Do not take it by mouth. It's better to skip a dose than to risk your health. Your body has carried you through decades of life. It deserves the very best care, starting with something as simple as reading the label.
5. Expecting a baby? Please stop. If you're a mother, a grandmother, or someone who cares deeply about the well-being of a loved one, this chapter may hit close to home. There's a long-standing folk belief that castor oil can help induce labor. Maybe your mother or grandmother once whispered it as a home remedy. Maybe you've heard stories about women taking a spoonful to get things going when the baby was overdue. But here's the truth. Using castor oil during pregnancy, especially without medical supervision, can be incredibly dangerous. Castor oil causes the muscles in the intestines to contract, which can also stimulate the uterus. That might sound helpful when you're close to your due date, but it can trigger strong, uncontrolled contractions that come on too quickly, too intensely, or at the wrong time. This can lead to fetal distress, premature labor, or complications during delivery. It doesn't stop there. Castor oil's laxative effects can also cause severe diarrhea, which puts the mother at risk of dehydration and electrolyte imbalances. That affects not only her strength during labor, but the baby's environment as well. Nausea and vomiting may follow, further increasing the risk. What's worse, many women try this remedy alone at home, without any professional care nearby. If labor begins suddenly or progresses too fast, it can turn what should be a joyful moment into a stressful, even dangerous one. One viewer shared a heartbreaking story about her niece. She took castor oil at 39 weeks because someone on Facebook suggested it. Within hours, she was in the hospital, frightened, in pain, and dehydrated. It all could have been avoided. That's why this message is so important. And never try to induce labor with castor oil without direct guidance from a healthcare provider. There are safer, more predictable medical options available today, ones that honor both the mother and the child's safety. If someone you love is pregnant and feeling impatient or anxious, be the voice of calm and care. Share this with them. Let's protect our daughters and granddaughters with information rooted in wisdom, not just tradition.
6. When relief becomes a habit. Constipation is one of those things we don't always talk about, but almost everyone over 60 has dealt with it at some point. It's uncomfortable, frustrating, and sometimes even painful. So when you find something that brings relief, like castor oil, it's tempting to go back to it again and again. But here's where the mistake happens. Using castor oil regularly as your go-to solution for constipation. Castor oil works fast. It stimulates the muscles in your intestines, forcing them to contract and move waste out. It can bring temporary relief. But if used too often, it can actually make the problem worse over time. Here's why. Your body can become dependent on the stimulation. The more you rely on castor oil, the more your natural bowel movements slow down. Your intestinal muscles get lazy. Before long, your digestive system forgets how to work on its own. It's like watering a plant too much. It looks good at first, but the roots weaken underneath. In addition to dependency, frequent use of castor oil can disturb your gut bacteria, the good kind that keeps digestion healthy. It can also cause dehydration, loss of important nutrients, and fatigue. One gentleman wrote to us and said, "I took a spoonful of castor oil every 3 days for almost a month. It worked at first, then suddenly stopped working. I ended up more backed up than before." The truth is, constipation is usually a sign of something deeper. Maybe it's not enough fiber or water. Maybe you're sitting too much. Maybe it's related to medication. Whatever the cause, the answer isn't to silence the symptom. It's to support your body gently and naturally. What can help? Start with small steps. Drink more water. Add whole fruits and vegetables. Walk after meals. Take your time in the restroom. And if needed, speak to your doctor about safe, long-term strategies. Castor oil can be helpful now and then, But when it becomes a habit, it may be time to pause and ask, am I healing or just coping? You deserve lasting relief, not just temporary fixes. 7. It all starts with the patch. Our skin changes as we age. It becomes thinner, more sensitive, and sometimes more reactive, even to things we've used for years without any trouble. That's why one of the most common yet easily preventable mistakes with castor oil is applying it to your skin without doing a simple patch test first. Castor oil is a powerful natural substance. It's rich in something called ricinoleic acid, which gives it its well-known anti-inflammatory and moisturizing effects. But for some people, especially those with conditions like eczema, psoriasis, or sensitive skin, that same strength can cause irritation. When you apply castor oil directly to your skin without testing it first, you risk reactions like redness, itching, burning, or swelling. These may appear immediately, or they might take hours or even days to show up. In more serious cases, it can lead to something called allergic contact dermatitis. That means your immune system sees the oil as a threat, and your skin responds with inflammation. It can be painful and persistent. One woman in her 60s shared her experience. I rubbed castor oil on my knees for joint pain, thinking it would help. By the next morning, I had a rash that spread to my legs. I didn't even know I was allergic. The good news is this can be avoided so easily. Here's how. Before applying castor oil to a larger area, place a small amount, just a drop or two, on a patch of skin behind your ear or on your inner forearm. Leave it there for 24 hours. If no irritation appears, you can safely apply it elsewhere. And remember, just because something is natural doesn't mean it's harmless for everyone. Every body is different. Every skin has its own story. So take the extra minute. Do the patch test. Think of it as a way to treat your skin with the same patience and care you've learned to give yourself over the years. Your skin has served you faithfully. It deserves gentleness in return. 8. When more isn't better. In our lives, we've all heard the phrase, a little goes a long way. That's especially true when it comes to castor oil. It's powerful, effective, and when used correctly, it can help with occasional constipation, inflammation, or dry skin. But here's the mistake many people make, especially when they're in discomfort or looking for quick results: taking too much castor oil. The recommended dose for internal use is 1 to 2 teaspoons, taken on an empty stomach. But some people think more will work faster or better, and they end up taking a tablespoon or more. That's when problems begin. Overconsumption of castor oil can cause severe cramping, nausea, vomiting, and intense diarrhea. For older adults, this can quickly lead to dehydration, which puts extra strain on the heart and kidneys. You may also lose vital electrolytes like potassium and sodium that help regulate everything from muscle function to heartbeat rhythm. In extreme cases, too much castor oil can cause heart irregularities, dizziness, or serious fatigue. One viewer shared, "I took a full tablespoon instead of a teaspoon because I thought I could handle it. Within an hour, I was sweating, cramping, and stuck in the bathroom. It wasn't worth it." Castor oil also shouldn't be used daily or for extended periods. Doing so can irritate the intestinal lining and lead to something called laxative dependency, where your body forgets how to go without help. That creates a cycle where you need more and more just to feel normal. So if you're using castor oil for the first time, start small and always make sure it's food grade, cold pressed, and clearly labeled for internal use. Your body has worked hard for you year after year. It doesn't need to be pushed. It needs to be supported gently and wisely. Remember, when it comes to castor oil, more is not better. Enough is enough. 9. The allergy you didn't know you had. Many people believe allergies are something you're either born with or develop when you're young, but that's not always true. In fact, as we age, our bodies can become more reactive, especially to products we've never used before. That's why one of the most overlooked dangers with castor oil is this:
not recognizing an allergic reaction when it happens. Castor oil may be natural, but it's still a powerful substance. And for some people, it can trigger a mild to severe immune response. The signs might be subtle at first, a bit of itching, redness, or a slight burning sensation after applying it to the skin. You might dismiss it as dryness or irritation, but if those symptoms continue or get worse, it may be your body's way of saying, "This isn't right for me." In more serious cases, castor oil can cause hives, swelling of the lips or face, or even tightness in the throat. These are signs of a more dangerous reaction called anaphylaxis, which can make it difficult to breathe and requires immediate medical attention. One viewer told us, "I had used castor oil on my joints with no issue, but after a few months I started breaking out in red patches. Then one night, my lips swelled and I felt short of breath. I didn't know it was an allergy. I thought maybe I had the flu. It was castor oil." It's important to remember, just because a product worked well for someone else, or even worked for you in the past, doesn't mean it will always be safe. Our bodies change, our immune systems change, and with age, we must listen even more carefully to what our bodies are trying to tell us. So, if you experience any discomfort after using castor oil, whether it's on your skin or taken by mouth, stop right away. Don't try to push through it. Don't wait for it to pass. And definitely don't assume it's normal. Your health and safety come first, always.
How to use castor oil safely. After everything we've covered, the mistakes, the risks, and the real-life experiences, you might be wondering, so how can I use castor oil safely? That's a great question, because when used wisely, castor oil really can be a helpful part of your wellness routine. The key is knowing how, when, and how much. Let's break it down. Internal use. If you're taking castor oil to relieve occasional constipation, here's what you need to know. Use only food-grade castor oil. The label should clearly say for internal use. Start with 1 to 2 teaspoons on an empty stomach. Never take more than 1 tablespoon unless advised by a doctor. Mix it with juice like orange or lemon to help mask the taste. It's strong and thick, so this makes it easier to swallow. Only use it for short-term relief. 1 to 2 days at a time, no more. Castor oil is not meant for long-term digestive support. Do not take it at night. The effects can start within a few hours, and you don't want to be rushing to the bathroom while you're trying to sleep. Watch for signs of dehydration. If you feel dizzy, lightheaded, or overly tired, pause and hydrate. If symptoms continue, speak to your healthcare provider. External use. For skin, joints, or hair, castor oil is often used safely and effectively, but there are a few simple steps to follow. Always do a patch test first. Apply a small amount behind your ear or on your forearm. Wait 24 hours. If there's no reaction, it's safe to proceed. Apply to clean skin in a thin layer. A little goes a long way. Use 2 to 3 times a week. Daily use isn't usually necessary, and for sensitive skin, less is often better. For joint or muscle relief, you can try a castor oil pack, a cloth soaked in warm castor oil placed on the area with a heating pad on top for 20 to 30 minutes. For hair or scalp, massage a few drops in, leave it for 30 minutes, then wash thoroughly. Choosing the right castor oil. To get the best results and avoid harmful additives, look for oils that are cold-pressed, organic, hexane-free, and clearly labeled for either internal or external use, depending on your need. The oil should be pale yellow or clear, not dark or cloudy. When used with care, castor oil can offer real support, but like any remedy, it works best when paired with knowledge, moderation, and attention to your body's signals. Because healing isn't just about what you use, it's how wisely you use it.
Gentle reminders from a life well lived. We've covered a lot today. 9 common mistakes with castor oil, some small, some serious, and each one a reminder that even natural remedies require thought, care, and understanding. So let's take a moment to reflect. Here are 3 simple truths to remember. Number 1, more is not better. A small amount of castor oil can help, but too much can harm. Trust your body and don't rush the process. Number 2, labels matter. Always check if the oil is food grade, organic, cold pressed, and safe for your intended use. Your health is worth reading the fine print. Number 3, listen to your body. If something feels off, whether it's your skin, your stomach, or your energy, pause and pay attention. Your body has been speaking to you your whole life. Now's the time to truly listen. You've lived long enough to know that wisdom doesn't come from doing things quickly. It comes from doing them well. And when it comes to your health, that means being thoughtful, asking questions, and giving yourself the same care you give to others. If today's video helped you see something more clearly, I invite you to share it with a friend or family member. You never know who might need this information right now, and I'd love to hear from you. Have you used castor oil before? Did it help? Or did you run into one of the issues we talked about? Your story might be the one that helps someone else avoid a mistake or make a better choice. If this content felt valuable to you, I invite you to subscribe to the Elder's Insight. Every week, we share grounded, heartfelt advice for wiser living, because growing older doesn't mean growing weaker. It means growing stronger, more aware, and more alive. Thank you for spending your time with me today. Take care of yourself. You deserve that and more.